ऐसा भी देखा है जहाँ investors, employees, founders, students, parents, everybody is unhappy with a certain company. And generally, when a company gets screwed, there's someone who's benefiting out of it. Either the investors or the founders are getting benefited, or sometimes even the students are getting benefited, or employees are getting benefited. But I think there's a one specific exception where this company it has managed to disappoint every stakeholder possible. That is Byjus. What seemed like one of the really cool startups close to 5-6 years back and one of the lucrative opportunities to work for has now become a giant mess. And what went wrong and what seemed like a very important motive to educate people across the world, close to 150 million people who required education in online format, and this has now gone into the drains now. What can we learn from this mistake and where exactly did Byjus go wrong, and how do we make sure that we do not fall for mis-selling traps and we do not join these kind of places? And at the same time, if you're someone who's starting something, what should you have in mind when you're starting an edtech venture? That's what we're going to be discussing about in this video here today. If you're new here, my name is Hari. I'm a recent graduate from BITS Planning and I'm a software developer in Bangalore. Let's just get started in the video. The first major blunder that Byjus made was spend an exorbitant amount of money in marketing. And why is marketing a bad thing? And generally, in most companies, spending money on marketing is considered to be a good thing because marketing attracts leads, and from leads, you get sales, and from sales, you make money and revenue and then profit eventually. But in the case of education, it kind of works reversely, right? When you think of an ad for a Domino's pizza or a car like Ferrari, you tend to contemplate about those ads, you tend to think about it and you make plans of purchasing it because it looks cool, because you get a quick dopamine hit out of it. Whereas in the case of education, you never contemplate about, oh, I'll get this course by the end of the month, or you never try to save up for a course. And even when you get a course, it kind of adds weight on you. You think that, okay, if I have bought a course, it's my responsibility to actually go and finish it. And if you don't actually do that, there'll be negative implications for that. And by its very nature, in the case of education, tends to get skipped. Whereas content, on the other hand, free content like YouTube, Instagram, where you get educated by creative content, you tend to watch that. And one of the major mistakes that Byjus made was not investing a big part of their marketing expenses back into content. If you compare the number of channels, number of YouTube channels that Physicswala has, as compared to the number of channels that Byjus has on YouTube for free content, you'll understand exactly where they're lacking. And since there was no free content, there was no trust. And since there was no trust, the public had a very bad image about them. And since they had a very bad image, now they are actually filing for insolvency. The big mistake, not investing on free content in the case of education. Which brings us down to the second most important reason for the downfall of Byjus, which is the highest amount of revenue that Byjus received was not from selling courses, it was not from the streaming services, but it was actually by selling edutech products, which means by selling tabs, by selling SD cards to people who are not in 11th and 12th. These are people who are studying in their 4th standard, 5th standard, 6th standard. They're just slowly climbing their way upwards, right? And the reason for Byjus to do this kind of move is so that they can increase the lifetime value of each student. Let's say that Byjus sells you a tab when you are in 4th standard, and in 5th standard you continue with Byjus, which means that there will be an opportunity for Byjus to sell you another course. And in 6th standard they will continue again, they will send you another course, another test series, and this will go on and continue up to the 11th standard, 12th standard, and even when they prepare for their entrance examinations. And while this was being done, there was a lot of mis-selling done by a lot of the salesmen. They found people in the weakest of income streams and they were asked to buy these tablets so that they can help their children progress forward in their lives. And they said that, if you don't buy this, your child's life is screwed, and all kinds of mis-selling tactics to create FOMO. And this created a lot of uproar in the community. There were a lot of people like Pradeep Punya who were heavily against this, and this created a lot of negative PR for Byjus. While all this negative PR was happening for Byjus, they went and acquired another company which would cause even a lot more negative PR, which is White Hat Junior. Welcome to the third big mistake that Byjus made, which was acquiring a lot of companies in a short span of time. And these were not great profitable companies, these were companies which were loss making. And since the companies had great potential to grow in the future, Byjus acquired them. And when Byjus acquired them, they didn't just acquire the company, they acquired the losses which accumulated along with them. And especially with White Hat Junior, they were not able to find the right product market fit, and even they were making some claims such as, we'll make you the next Steve Jobs, we'll make you the next Elon Musk, make Sundar Pichai, and making these kind of false promises and selling this to people. It really caused a lot of uproar in the tech community, and especially in social media like Twitter and LinkedIn. They were not happy about the entire processes, and this caused a negative PR for Byjus, creating a negative impression for people in the general public about Byjus. And at the same time, there were a huge rise of amazing companies like PhysicsWallah, where they had built a strong foundation by creating education free available on YouTube, and they had slowly expanded a lot. Their YouTube channels had grown to a big size. They launched an app, and slowly they moved forward, and eventually they raised a funding of close to 100 million to tackle big companies like Byjus and Unacademy and all these other companies. And this was the story of Byjus, and these three mistakes really affected Byjus a lot, and this really brought them down to the brink, and which was once worth close to $22 billion. $22 billion is a lot of money, and now they are filing for insolvency. They're not able to pay for the jersey that they have got in cricket. They are now facing trouble in paying back their employees. Now the investors are unhappy, and even the entire startup scene is now in a turmoil because of just one company, right? And what could they have done differently? The only different thing that they had done, if they had just focused more on making the students happy, if they had focused more on making the students more successful, instead of increasing their sales a lot by just focusing and improving their sales processes, they would have made a huge progress. And I think as students, what we have to learn is that it's very important to find authentic sources to learn from, and it's important to find credible people who can mentor you. If someone has gone to a good college and if they can mentor you and guide you in the right path, then you're probably in the right direction. Whereas if someone is just coming and trying to sell you stuff without any sort of authority and credibility, then I think it's just bad for the student, and it's ultimately going to be bad for the company as well. So try to find credible people who can mentor you and help you out in your journey, whether it be whatever competitive exam or whatever exam that you're writing, or even if you're preparing for an interview or preparing for anything in general, or you're trying to build something. Finding the right mentors is very important, and this is where we try to come up and we try to give you free resources and try to help you out in moving forward. And in the last year, I've been running something called BitSat Busted. I found that a lot of the students had trouble cracking exams like BitSat and other exams where they had not been prepared for it. Most of the people, they run behind JEE Mains and JEE Advanced, and they leave out an important exam like BitSat. And I also found out that many people in South India, especially people who speak Malayalam and Tamil natively, they're not able to catch up with the ecosystem of content which is happening in Hindi. And this is where there's a disconnect, and there's a lot of help required for them in the mode of free content, especially in YouTube and other social media as well. And this is where we have decided to start a new YouTube channel to help out these students and hopefully bring them along the journey so that they can actually do well, and they can ace their preparation and do well in the competitive exams that's happening in 2025. Yes, and that's it from my side, guys. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did like the video, make sure to share it with your friends and make sure to like the video as well. This will mean a huge lot to the community and for the YouTube channel, and you will make the YouTube algorithm very happy as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.